Okay, all right, guys. Assalamu alaikum. I hope you guys are all doing well. We are meeting after a week, I guess. So I'm hoping that you guys have relatively better updates than we have been doing. So let's see. So first, every meeting, we will do a Scrum update and see where you guys are with your features or with your stories. And then we have a topic today of Oracle database and SQL. So, I mean, it's a huge topic. I think we may not be able to finish it today, but we will get started. And I would need some help from you guys in a way that I'll share the instructions how to set it up. So then I will cover the SQL, some SQL part. And I would expect the following week that you guys have those things set up, and then we can go further in the next week. So we'll see how far we can get today. But you guys will not benefit if you guys don't install the Oracle and don't play with it using your own hands. I think for classes, there are, like I have said in the past also, there's so many classes that are available, and you guys can watch on the YouTube. I'm not teaching anything which is maybe outside of that. It's still, I mean, it's the same stuff which is there, but it becomes relevant when we are doing it with our hands and doing it on our own PCs. Then it becomes relevant and become useful. And secondly, when we are using it in our project as well. So that's why I think it is important that you guys do these as an exercises or homework. And I totally understand that you guys have colleges and schools and all the pressures of working at the same time. But I mean, again, the important thing is we will not be learning anything if we don't give any time to this. So like I said in the past, we need to give like 2 to 3 hours, maybe 4 hours a week. That should be enough outside of this hour, which we cover every week. So again, it would be my advice or request or whatever, that try to schedule some time. So maybe it's better that put this time on your calendar, that let's say if you have to give 3 hours a week, you put that time on the calendar, like 1 hour on Monday, 1 hour on Wednesday, and maybe 1 hour on Friday, or whatever day works for you. Put it on your calendar and then try to cover this. I think that would help you guys make some progress. Otherwise, you will always be saying, oh, okay, it's still a week left. It's not a big deal. We can get started on Friday or Saturday and still be done. That won't happen. The weekend will come and you guys will say, oh, I have some homework to do. So you will not. So better way would be that you guys schedule a time, put this time on your calendar, and that way you guys will be able to give some time. So this is, again, my advice. Again, it's up to you guys if you guys follow it. But if you guys follow it, you will benefit more than the others. All right, so enough of the lecture. So let's go back to the Scrum. So Wahaj, your name comes first. So I'm just going to go in the order your names are showing up for me. So Wahaj, how are things with you, man?
All right, let me just share my screen.
Okay.
So for I think Damayanti told me the piece of code that fixed the
yeah, so that's very good and very helpful. I think Sister Tanya is a very good resource for us, and I want you guys to do the same which she or any of us do. So as soon as you send that message, so let me stop you. Let me share one time quick.
Sure.
Okay, so as soon as you send the message, so what normally I would do and what I would like you guys to do is that look at that error message and put that error message somewhere in the Google. Let me share. You guys see my screen? All right. So put that error message, this one you are seeing right there, right? So this was something you were seeing. I put it in the Google. I left it this way so that you guys can. So most likely this one would be covered somewhere in the Stack Overflow. So the first one, good chances that you will hit the first one. So if you click on this one, you will see that very similar message, which you are saying React limits the number of renders to prevent the infinite loop. So React actually stops it when it sees that there is some loop, infinite loop going on. So basically, if you go to the first solution, and which has the validated solution that the person who opened that issue verified actually gave that as a solution. And I'm not saying that Sister Tanya might have looked at it. Sister Tanya might have known herself, but that's a way to do it. You put that in the Google, look at it and look for the solution wherever. And if you notice that this is exactly what they're doing, that you do that, give a function and then call that inside as a part of that function instead of calling directly on the onClick. So this avoids the infinite loop. So the only lesson here for you guys is that try to do that before you ask that question. And that's good that you asked that question. That's why I asked you to put it there. And when I gave you the hint, I just asked you to the comment out the onClick. And the reason for me that was that also that you still try to do that and see what happens. And then I'm very happy that Sister Tanya help you fix that solution, which is great. But this is something you guys should get better at as well. That put that error message. There are so many because React is such a popular language that there's so many answers already available on the Stack Overflow. So these kind of things you guys should be able to figure out. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So go ahead. I stopped sharing.
So yeah, I did the dynamic flow. So right now, when nothing's selected, or even when just reason selected, nothing shows up, not even pay now. But once you select your payment method, so if it's like PayPal, then the PayPal button will show up, make payment will show up as well. And then Stripe, and it switches to Stripe.
Oh, good.
And pay now. And so Stripe has, I think what Rafi implemented was that only when I enter some numbers, the pay now button is enabled.
Okay. Good.
So I want to try to do the same thing with PayPal.
As well.
Make this enable whenever you like finish with PayPal. Yeah, that's what I did. And yeah, when you clear it and reload it, it doesn't show up again.
Okay.
So it's dynamic.
So what's the next thing for you? What is it? So basically you want to make sure that you can validate. So we also need to validate that then first name and last name is present. The email has to be a valid email. When I say valid email, we have to verify it from our members' data. Does that email associated with this, or the email you entered is the correct one? And the amount cannot be negative or something, or I don't know if the negatives are also supported to credit, but so it's up to you. So basically we need to add some more validation on this page to make sure that the bad data does not get into the system.
Right, and also for forms, since some sections have like required, the little stars next to the sections.
Yeah.
I think I should try doing that.
Yes.
And for comments, I should not make it required. Just make it optional.
Yeah, comments won't be required. Everything else should be required. That's perfect. And then the email, the only thing you want to do is that it has to be a valid email of a member. If someone cannot put just a random email.
Yeah, the same the format of the email, like at example.com. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So that's what next steps for you. And are you working same place where Rafe is, or you have your own fork on that?
I have my own fork. I just implemented Rafe's Stripe code. He has the files. Okay. I think he might have done something else, but I'm not sure yet.
Yeah. So basically, what I want, the reason I'm bringing this up is I want this code now checked in, and we want to see if we can integrate this code into our main branch.
Yeah, Naeem Uncle, Wahaj and Subhan both forked, Wahaj forked my repository. forked my fork. So I just pull his changes in when he makes a pull request. So all like the latest update stuff gets like combined onto my fork then.
Okay,
Yeah.
and
So
then you need to get it into the main line also, right?
okay. Have we began checking in our code into the main?
I think we should start getting.
Okay.
And if there are issues we hit, we will fix those. I don't see any problem with that. And the reason we were doing all these folks was that we understand the process. Because,
Okay.
yeah, otherwise we will not have too many problems. When we are working in a bigger organization,
I see.
we have to go off on
Okay.
our own branches. But here, it won't be a big deal. If you guys
Okay.
push in changes and they don't work, we will be able to make them work somehow.
Okay. And we should like kind of clean up our code as well before we
Yes.
do that, right? Okay. Yeah. Inshallah, I'll sit with Wahaj and go through everything, and then I'll create a pull request.
Okay, and you guys now, you and Wahaj are on it. I think so. Is Subhan also working with you guys at all?
I don't think there's too much we really needed from Subhan anymore, because Subhan like already fixed set up the backend for the payment information. So pretty much everything is set up already. I think maybe just one odd function for the stuff Orwa is doing, but I could probably take care of that.
Okay, perfect. Anything else you want to add, Rafi?
No, not really. I mean, I mean, I'll just I don't really have many updates. I had a pretty busy week, so I wasn't really able to give any time this week. Inshallah, I'll try to get back into it next week. If you want to, if you need me to go over PayPal, Stripe, in the next couple of weeks, I can go to prepare for that as well.
I think that would be good. I think try to maybe in 2 weeks. Try to keep that in mind.
Okay. Yeah. Inshallah. Yeah. Yeah.
And okay, and work with Brother Athar to
Okay.
get these changes in.
Mhm.
Talk to him. I think you talked to him before also. So
Yes, we
you can
did.
get hold of him and he can help you get these changes in.
Okay, awesome. Inshallah, I'll reach out to him.
All right. So,
Brother Naeem, can I ask Rafi, like how did they combine their folks together? Like how they are doing it? So I mean, the like for example, because right now I am the only one who is pushing it into the GitHub, and Afif and Asad, they haven't created any combined their fork project with me, so they are just taking the copy, cloning it, and then they are just adding the things, and then manually I have to add those things into my
Yeah, I talked to Brother Athranko Tanyanti about this, and what he told me is best practice in this specific situation. He told me is instead of Wahaj, Subhan, and me, all three having different forks of Naeem Uncle's repository, he told me that I should fork the repository, and then Subhan and Wahaj should fork my repository. So then they're basically forked my fork, and then anytime I change something, they can simply pull from the upstream. And then anytime they change something, they just create a pull request. I pull their changes into my code.
Okay, so their remote will be like your repository.
Exactly. Their remote will be mine. They won't really, yeah.
So you have to manually add it, like
yes. Yeah, I kind of have to manually go through all their changes and the pull requests, and if there's any merge conflicts, go through that. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, I think you guys should do that too. I think if you have not been doing Sister Tanya, that this is probably, then if Brother Athar has already advised us this method, then we probably should follow that.
Okay.
All right. So
Name Uncle?
Yes.
Just a quick question. What's this extra stuff in the URL right here?
I think those are
URL parameters.
Yeah,
but like, why do they show up? Is that right? Is that fine? It's showing up, or?
Okay, so right now the way it is, I have to look at your code. Yeah, I think if they are showing up like that, we have to encrypt this code. So it's something similar to what I have showed to Sister Tanya also. But I'll have to first look at maybe your code to see why the URL parameters are showing. Because what this is showing is that in this case, when you are making a request, the payment method is set to first name and whatever last name, email is, they're all empty. So we have to look at your code and see what is causing this. But if it has to be done this way, we have to do a encode URI component and decode URI component on the backend side, so that otherwise these things starts to give problems. So good eye on this, that you noticed it. Yeah, we should address this. I'll take a look though.
So are you submitting, like doing the post request directly on your form? So like, you know, when you submit directly on the form, so by default, when you send it, sometimes it shows up in the URL. Are you like before, you know, getting the values? I mean, you are setting prevent default. So you are preventing the default values to be posted, and then you can access the values in your form. So probably, I don't know, this should,
So
these values
normally, yeah, normally these URL parameters are for the GET request. They're not generally for the post. So so I think this is something happening in his GET call when he's making a request.
Andy, what is prevent default? I actually saw that and used that when I implemented PayPal and Stripe, but I didn't know what that line does.
The prevent default is basically when is the default behavior that whenever you are, you know, having a post request on the form, you submit the form. So with submit button, it just sends, it just reload the page and sends it to the server.
Oh, okay.
So your page will reload, and then your values will reset to the, you know, the empty, you know, whatever it was before. So the form will become empty. So these values will be, you know, will disappear. So in order to keep those values there, so you just use this prevent default, then you can access the values.
Okay, I see. I think we have that in for Stripe. So yeah, that might.
E is an object, right, for the event that fire, right? So that has the behavior with the prevent default, which like Sister Tanya is saying. But anyways, so Vahaj, can you remove all these URL parameters and just leave the payment? What happens? Yeah, enter.
Yeah, it just loaded the page as normal.
It loaded the page. So can you now select anything here, membership, and then PayPal, and what is it you did that? Okay, so select that.
Hit clear. I think it'll show up if you hit Stripe.
Yeah, clear.
Oh no, clear did it.
When I press clear.
Clear is something which is doing it. Okay, got it. Yeah, I think there's something in the clear. You have to see what you're doing. So clear, basically what you're doing is basically going in there and clearing those fields. So that is when you change that, that is causing something in the page to reload. Are you reloading the page? Looks like. So I think you should not be reloading the page.
Okay, it's type refresh. So I put the button as type refresh. Probably shouldn't do that, right? Okay. Yeah, I'll look into that.
All right. Who's okay? Next is Asad. Asad, how are you doing?
Yeah, so I was able to meet up with Afif and Tanya Aunty, and I was able to find a member, I think the members file, right? And where I am supposed to add the radio button. But right now I'm going through the tutorial on React. It is a couple hours long, so I'm splitting it up every night. But you know, every night I'll watch a couple minutes, and then
yeah, you don't have to complete that. That's okay. I mean, you can watch whenever you have time. So yeah, I mean, that's not really required. It may be useful for sure, but yeah, for what you need to do, it's not absolutely required. So yeah, you can still
yeah, because like I still need like a good backend. This is my first time working with JavaScript or React. Like either way, you know, it's my first time working with both of those languages. So yeah.
No, that's fine. So you are getting enough help from Sister Tanya and
yeah, they're really helpful.
Okay, perfect. Okay. All right. So Afif, how are you doing?
All right, so there's a couple of clarifying questions I have.
Yes, I'm sorry I could not respond to your notes. I think there were quite a few questions there, and I wasn't really able to. So let's see if you can ask those questions right now, and we can address those.
Yeah, so one of the questions is about the payment. I'll start off with the payment methods. I was thinking that originally maybe we could link whenever they have internal registration, they select their members and dependents, and it's linked to the payment page that Wahaj has. And we could have them make a payment through there. But now that I'm thinking about it, that payment page is more for donations and sadaqah and zakah. So
Yeah.
we could have, and we have to have an internal registration page when they're making their internal events.
Yes.
Does that sound good?
That's perfect. I think the backend API, REST API, you can use as it is. You don't have to create that. But your front end will be, your payment should be accepted in the same page where you are building for storing anybody who's signing up for any event. So that's where it has to be done, the payment.
Mm-hmm.
But the backend REST API you should use the same API.
Yes. Okay. And so then a little bit of clarification for the like members and dependents and all of that. You
Yeah.
don't want us to have activities stored inside the members, right?
Yeah.
Members-
So let me explain you why I would say that. So the thing with that is that, let's say, one thing is we will cover the relational database structure also today, but let me first address it here. So all the transactions, we just need to store them as for our history and auditing purpose, right? So for example, if someone signed up for a sports activity like 6 months ago, and he can sign up again for the sports activity after 6 months today or maybe in future. So we need to keep track, we need to keep all the audit trail with that he signed up and on this date and he signed up on this date and this date. So we have to store them as separate transactions whenever those transactions happen. And that's in the same transactions, we will put the ID of the member or the dependent, right? Since the dependent is also stored in the member, so we can put an ID in the same table, and then we kind of create a link between the two documents that we can get the member ID from these transactions of the activities, and then we can match it with our member data, which is stored as a master. Does that make sense?
Okay, so we'd have the member's ID stored in the transaction, like.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, so then how about for dependents? Would dependents have their own ID? I believe.
Yes, dependents have their own ID. So basically, the way we have.
And so then weren't we storing dependents inside the members?
Say it again.
Weren't we storing the dependents inside the members, and they all have their individual IDs? It's
They do have their IDs, yes.
Okay, so then we'd have to access the dependents from inside the member, because, for example, it could be a situation where the member isn't coming, but their kids are. So then we may have to do something special for that as well. All right.
Yeah. Is that it, or there were more? I thought you had quite a bit of stuff. I read it once, and then I thought I will be able to respond to you, but was that all, or you had any other questions?
Let me check. Other than that, yeah, what else did you comment on? I think.
So also, yeah, we have to access the members and the dependents of the members from the members' data, right?
Yeah.
So when we are showing that checkbox, so in that case, I mean, do we already have the dependents added? Like we have the backend ready for that? Because right now, when I'm trying to pull that, I'm not able to get any dependents of the members. So.
Okay, so I think Hamza will cover that. I'll ask Hamza, but I think he had showed us last time. He may not have checked in the code yet, but we'll have him checked in the code. So let's keep this question for Hamza.
Okay.
All right. So anything else, Aviv?
No, I think those were the only two things you objected against. Other than that, so I'll start working on the back end. Asad's doing the radio button. We'll try to work together and trying to finish that. I think Asad can mostly work on the front end if he likes to, and I can start working on the back end.
Okay.
That should be fine. And then.
Yeah, I think you guys switch along. I mean, during the project, you guys should both have understanding on both sides. But I know that you already have done front end, so it makes sense to do the back end now.
Mm-hmm.
So there are so many things like which are now dependent or on the other data stuff like payment. We need the payment API,
Yes.
and also we need the admin and the status of the user, if it's a member, or it's an admin. So we have to do certain changes on our website based on that. So we cannot progress unless.
So, yes, that's very fair, and that's how it works in the dependent in this software development world. That you guys start writing them up. That okay, I need this to work before I move forward, and you don't start building it yourself. it should be built by someone who owns that part. So yes, I agree with you. There will be a lot of things we will find now, and that's why I'm pushing for people to check in the code so that we can start looking at those things. So yes, and like you said that we need the members data ready and dependents data ready, and then the admin view and the member view. All these things should be functional for you guys to move forward. And we should start listing them either in our either in a conference page, that what you need from the other. So whatever conference page you are building right now for the activities, you should add a section there that this is what you need from the other teams, and exactly what is there and what is missing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. Anything else, Sister Tanya, you want to go over?
I actually we had the chat actually. I mean, and we were discussing that where we should store that configuration, the
Yes.
service account information.
That's
So
a good one. Thank you for reminding me. Yes. So I said that we will store it in the database. So we will create a document. We'll have a REST API for that also. So I'll assign that work to someone to create a REST API to store all our configuration stuff. Right now, like we have it that in config.env or another file which we discussed for the service accounts.
yes,
We should store all that information inside a document which is stored in the database, and we will retrieve it as soon as we sign in, and then the system, it should be that information should be available in our application.
but that should be encrypted, because it's, if you are just sending as a JSON file, so that's again a security risk. So
Yes, I agreed. Totally fair. Yeah. All right, so that is actually a good point you brought up. I think I'll think about that as well. So there are not, because even if you encrypt it on the front end, it is still a challenge. So we will see. So we might, so basically the way we will do it is we will keep it in the, we'll read it in the database and store it in our backend. We will not expose it to the browser, so that we can, does it make sense?
no.
So basically it is available to the Node.js, but it is not available to the React.js. That's what we're saying.
Okay.
So that way, whatever we need to do, needed to access the drive and anything we need to do, that all happens through the REST APIs. They're all backend, right? So the REST APIs will have access to it,
Yeah.
but the access won't be there for. So yeah.
But still, it's going through internet. Like like I don't know. Like if from
right now, yes. Right now, since our database is on the Mongo, yes, it will have to go through the wire. But once our databases will also be on the same machine where our node server is, then there won't be.
So you mean like when you are doing it on the Heroku, you are
Yeah. So basically on Heroku, we will have both our database as well as a node server also on the same machine.
Oh, okay, great.
Okay, good. Yeah, these are good things to understand for everyone. I think these are, when Sister Tanya is talking about some of these things, I think you guys should pay close attention, because these are important things which you guys should also start understanding. This may be complicated, and if you don't understand, you should bring it up and we should discuss. All right. Anything else, Sister Tanya, you want to go over?
No, I mean, that's the only thing I have done. So
Okay.
I cannot, I'm not doing any further. I'm just helping kids to,
That's perfect. That's perfect, actually. And that would be great if you can do that a little bit. And
yeah, because Asad is new. I think he probably, I will set up one or two, sessions with him. If he's having any problem, I can help him.
And if you can do that, start doing that role, which you are probably doing already, that would be really, really helpful for our team. Because some of these guys will need help, and since you have experience on the React, you probably know React more than me, because I don't do a React development. So it would be good that you work with these kids, and it would be good for us.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if anyone, it's my open offer. So to anyone, if somebody needs me, so yeah, they can always ping me.
All right, thank you. So next is Subhan. Subhan, how are you doing?
So I was pretty busy over the week, but I was able to create a Confluence page that I can show.
Okay, sure.
About the volunteer events.
Okay.
You see my page?
Yes.
Yeah, so basically the volunteer page will allow user to sign up for volunteer events that are organized by MHMA. So these can be like sports organizers, the setups, like the picnic setups and cleanups, or helping at vendors. And this is what the page I wanted to look somewhat like this.
Mhm.
So these events, these will be like the MHMA events, and these like apply now buttons will be like the sign up buttons. And
Mhm.
these sign up buttons, once you click on them, they will bring you up to a pop-up page. So I want to also create a pop-up page which will allow users to enter the information, which is somewhat similar to the payments page, except for we don't need any payments.
Yeah, so I think you should maybe take a leaf out of Sister Tania's page, the one they have. This is very similar to that activities page.
So the activities, yeah, I was
Yeah,
looking.
yeah. So maybe similar to that. Okay.
Yeah, and this page, I want to add like for the UI, I want to add like the multiple volunteer events which are formatted like this.
Uh-huh.
It's also like Sister Tanya's page, and I want to add like a filter button like they have right here, which
Okay.
filter what type of feasibility of the event it is, such as if it's technical, if it has to do with like parking, or if it's setup, or like if it's tutoring,
Mhm.
and what dates they are available for.
Okay.
And the admin page of this will be, it will allow the admin to create new volunteer events or delete events, and they can also write a description for what the event is in order to help out with the filtering for the events. And yeah, the testing. So what I want the page to look like is that the user is able to click on volunteer event to see the description of it, filter out events, and able to click on and sign up and enter user information. So I
So
think
I see, I like what the way you are doing, but this is a lot of work. Do you know that you have to create an admin view? It's very similar work, which I think Sister Tanya and Afif have been doing. So
yeah,
you have to,
what I first want to do is I want to make like a simple UI and then try to first implement the backend.
yeah, that would be better. So you create a backend and then you make a simpler page where you can allow them to sign up. Create a drop down for now. This is a great design which you are showing. This is perfect. But for to getting started, you create a simple page where you have a drop down of which shows all these events as drop down, and then you should be able to pick any one of them, and then you put whatever number of hours you are doing. Just do that first, and then maybe convert that into this over time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So hopefully you can have a REST API and a simple page working by next Sunday. Is that reasonable, or you can?
I'm balanced out now for my schoolwork, so.
Okay, so try to see what you can do. You can talk to me during the week if you need help on that. I know you already understand how to create the REST APIs. So create the REST API and put whatever fields you think they should be there, and see if you can test it on the Postman, and then come back and make that simple page. The simple page, I think page, you guys should be very familiar now, like Wahaj's page or Afif's page for signing up the events. These are the basic pages which you guys should all share, and maybe sometime copy the code and see what the other person is doing to understand what's the right way to do it.
All right.
Okay, cool. All right, so we have Urva here today. Urva, how are you?
I'm okay. Unfortunately, I haven't been working on the project too much, but I'm going to try to get back on it this week. And I was planning on meeting with Rafe, but I got a little busy. But hopefully, we'll be able to schedule a meeting soon, and I'll get back into it.
What is it that you are working on that you need to meet with Rafael?
I was working on making my payment table a little more user friendly and a little kind of less gross is kind of the best way I could put it. It's very rudimentary.
Yes, you should look at Hamza's page again for the members. He might have made some improvements. Take a look how he's doing, and then maybe do something similar.
Naimaka, yeah, I just offered to help integrate like our data because me, Wahaj, and Subhan have been using the payment APIs and that the most. So I just offered that when it comes time to actually get the data from the database, I could offer some help there.
Right. So I want you to hand over that work to these guys, Hamza. Sorry, to once you guys meet, And then I maybe want you to work with Subhan on the activity, the volunteer stuff.
Okay.
You can work on that.
Yeah.
So the one he just showed, I mean, you guys should meet and see what areas you can do and what he can do. And that way, I think, because that looks also to me a little bit significant work. But since he is starting over, so it would be a good opportunity for you to see what you guys need to do, because it would be good learning for you.
Okay. Sounds good.
So, Rafa, you should pick up the payment table from Urva and then integrate with your stuff, right?
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Yeah. Yeah. I can reach out to Hamza as well. Maybe get some help because I know he went through all that as well.
Okay. All right. Hamza, how are you, man? I left you. Okay.
Oh, good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Cool. So let me just go ahead and share my screen. So I didn't make really any changes really on the CSS style yet. I did add some validation here. So now if you have like this field's empty or something, you try and hit save. It'll go by, I kind of implemented it through alerts instead of actually through the form or whatever, just because it was kind of easier. It does make it too, so it has to be like valid zip codes and all that stuff too. I also made this so that it would automatically come up with the slash marks or whatever. Then I did make this as well so that it automatically finds your user as well. Okay. I did have a question about this because right now I've only implemented it in the way you can only really add a member through this button right now so far. So I made it so once you add a new member, it'll do it only for the first time though. So once we get an actual button where members actually register, I can move the code over to that and then it should be good after that.
Okay. So next thing, what I want you to do is, if you can. So right now you are in an admin view, right?
Yeah.
So can you go in the member view right now?
Well, I don't have one. No, I don't.
Yeah.
Really
So that's something we want to do. So basically, when you sign in, so you are not. So basically, what we'll do is we'll create new users. So we can create a new user and then try signing in using that user. So sign in as a new Google account, but that's what I'm saying. And that is not added to our
database
yet as an admin user.
Okay.
So we want to see if you can show that user can see his own information. Can you look into that?
Okay, yeah, I'll look into that next. How would they register though?
Yeah, so basically what we'll do is let's first see if you sign in as a user and then be able to just see your own data. And then we can discuss how we want to make sure that works. Because right now it will just show you 401, but we need to make sure that we allow that user to see his own data. He won't be able to see other members' data, but he should be able to see. So that we'll have to do some work on the REST side. So I'll work with you on that and for REST and security side. So if you get started on it, let me know and maybe we can go over that.
Okay. And then other than that, I'm still kind of working on fixing this. Okay. It does save and everything, but it doesn't update. Like, so if I press cancel, this should go back to my full name, which it doesn't. So that's the other thing I'm kind of working on.
Okay.
And then for Thayanti, I do have the API for the dependents pretty much done. I do want to fix one issue on it when it saves back the dependents.
Also, sometimes it puts both. Is that what you're saying?
Basically how I'm doing it right now is before I do the axios, the dot put or whatever for them, I turn the dependent array for this has all these as objects. So I just take it take out the objects and put their IDs in. So I wanted to automatically do that in the backend
Yeah.
side instead of me having to do that here and sending
Okay.
it.
Okay, got it. Okay, great. So if you can get started on what I just told you, that would be good. I think that's some functionality which we need for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get started on that then.
All right, so we have only 18 minutes left, and I think I probably will go over again. I'm sorry, but
Just one thing. So Hamza, can you share your if you have done with the REST API and with the API of this dependents and members, can you share with me, please?
Yeah, you want me to share it right now or?
No, after the class anytime. So
yeah, you should also, like I am saying, that we should all try to check in this code so that it's available to everyone. But again, yeah, you guys feel free to meet with each other. But
Yeah.
one thing we need to make sure that we all check in our code. And
It's in the pull request. I think I have it.
yeah, but it is what I want is it should go in our main line, our main, which is main repository, where you guys all fork from. Okay.
like we have to send the pull request, right? For that. In the main repository.
Yeah, you make a poll and then you have to push those changes, your changes in there.
Okay.
We can create the pull request, but then I think Naimako, you and Atharanko can merge
approve
those,
Yeah,
approve those changes. Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, got it. Okay, let me share my screen. So what I wanted to go over today is, so how many of you know about the databases? I know you guys know MongoDB to some degree, but how many of you have any experience with any database? Rafi, have you done any database? Rafi,
I used MySQL in school. I started using some Microsoft databases like Cosmos and stuff, and then
okay.
also Postgres. I didn't look too much into it, but I mean in general, I have experience with SQL and yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
I also have some experience with MySQL. So.
Good. Hamza, have you or Wahaj, any other guys? No.
Yeah, they have some, but I don't have experience, but I've looked it over and learned some SQL. But
okay, good. So let's see. I'll still try to stay very basic, but so there are few things which we need to do so that we can learn SQL. One is that how to install the Oracle, and I have posted some links which are useful, I think, which can help you guys set up your database. So a couple of those links I already here. So there are certainly two ways you can install Oracle, and easier ways. There are difficult ways also. These both ways are easier. So one way is that you install the virtual machine and using Oracle's VirtualBox, which is a free software. So you can download the VirtualBox, which is links here. You can download that, and once you download that, there is the file available, the image available that you can install, which already have a SQL, which already have Oracle database installed. So that's one way to do it. So these are the steps laid out, and these steps are very easy to follow. I don't think there is much I need to go over. It will be just, I'll be going through these steps one by one, and I don't want to waste you guys' time on that. So that's one option. I personally like the second option, which is install the Oracle database not on a virtual machine, because the problem with the virtual machine is that virtual machine will allocate some resources on your Mac or Windows or whatever environment you're on. So the challenge is that either you have to stop the virtual machine, or it will keep on taking the resources away from your main operating system. So basically, when we say install as a virtual machine, it's like install a guest OS on the virtual machine. That's the terminology people use. The guest OS means that you are installed something as a virtual machine on your computer. But this Docker, the benefit of running a Docker is that it does not install a new operating system. You can have a Docker image which will run the Oracle server as a regular OS process. So it will be like a virtual machine, similar in terms of the features, but it will not allocate all those OS resources on your system. It will not install a new OS on your machine. It will be running on your same OS, and you can have your database installed. So I basically followed these instructions which are in this link, and I have put this in the conference page also. And all you need to do is, so first thing, all of you, I believe all of you should have already a Docker installed on your machine. So if the Docker is installed like I have as well, right here on my Mac, you guys should be able to see the Docker. So I have this Docker running on my desktop. And then I can go on the command line and type this command, docker pull store / Oracle database enterprise. So what it will do is it will download that image onto your local machine. Once it is downloaded, you might have to run this command, docker login, before you could download. So that you can get this from the Docker Hub. So you will have, I believe you guys have signed up for this free account on the Docker. You can do a Docker login. And once you Docker login, this command will work and you should be able to pull this from the Docker Hub. And once it is downloaded, all you need to do is run this command. And I think I put this command separately also here so that you guys don't have to go through the whole page. So you do a Docker login, you do the pull of this this image, and then all you do is run this command. Once you run this command, the Docker will be running on your machine. So on my computer, it is already running. If you guys see my screen on the terminal, if I say Docker PS, which tells me what are the processes running on my machine. So this is like a Unix command, like we were talking the last time. So Docker PS, so it is telling me that I have our Docker running on, mouse is gone somewhere. All right, okay. So, okay. So basically it is showing that this is the image that is running on my Docker, and this is the name of the image, Docker DB. And so once this is running, that means the Oracle server is installed on your desktop, right? And it is installed as a Docker process on your desktop. And you will see, you should be seeing this. Maybe I put this as well in our conference so that it makes it a little bit easier that have you gone through the steps successfully or not. So I'm going to put these also, put this link also, that it should look like this when you run the Docker PS. So this is how your Docker PS command should output. And once you do that, then like I said, the backend database is running. So you guys remember that after you guys installed your MongoDB on somewhere, we had to install a client tool on your computer, which was Studio 3T or something. So there is a similar tool for the Oracle database, which is called SQL Developer. So SQL Developer is the client tool which Oracle uses, or a lot of people use. It's very friendlier as compared to the other Oracle tools, unfortunately. So this one is pretty useful tool. So I have a couple of videos also how to download and install SQL Developer, and how to set up a connection in the SQL Developer. There is a video, you guys can watch that. And then I also have the links where that SQL Developer download is. So basically you download it. Let me click it so that it's open in a new tab. And then once it is there, you just need to go and download whatever OS you are on. Like I'm on a Mac OS, so I will download this file. So when you download this file also, it will also ask you for the user ID password, and you can create a free user ID password on Oracle also. and then you should be able to download it. And again, it all will require you to install the JDK 8 or 11. So basically, I put those links here also for you guys. That this is to install the Oracle SQL Developer, and this is to install your Java. So you will need to install Java 8 or 11 using this link, and you have to have both of these things installed on your Mac or whatever OS you are using. So once you have that, you should have the SQL Developer like this in your machine. So now let's look at what this tool is. So this is a SQL Developer. So once it is installed on your desktop, you can go and run it like any other process like we have. So this is a SQL Developer. So I am running this as a client tool on my Mac computer. So once you let me disconnect that so that we can see how it looks like. So once you sign in, so once you run this process or this program, you will see this Oracle connection as empty. So I already gave a YouTube video there how to set up the Oracle connections. But in order for you to set up our Oracle database, you will have to set up like this. So the properties will be given more like this. So you will have to give the username, password, and then where is the host name and something. So let me see if I can put this image also, so that you guys can take a look at it. So I'll put this image also, so that you should be able to do exactly what I'm doing. So let's close this and go here. Desktop. Not this one. So I'm looking. I'll share that in that page. So don't worry about it. So I'll be able to share that. So let's go back to our SQL Developer. So I'll go over and I'll let you guys play around with this and then come back with some questions. So, but for now, let's see if the way to do is you create a connection. Connections mean you have to connect to your database. Like we created a connection on a Studio 3T that you have to connect which database. So you basically have to provide those instructions. What are how to connect to the database. So this is our port. And this information is there in the Docker PS command where localhost it is running on my local computer. And what is the service name? And what is my user ID and password? So the next thing which I want to go over is that in order to connect to a schema, all I have to do is double click it. So once I double click it, it will connect to that database. And if I want to see what are the tables in there, so like we are saying, what are the different documents in the MongoDB, we used to click the documents here. We will see what are the tables in that database. So I'll click this. So this is a standard HR schema for Oracle, which is available. I'll share the schema also for you so that you guys can install it on your computers as well. So like it has the table. So like in our NoSQL world, we have these as documents, like we have members and we have the payments and others. And same way you have countries, departments, employees, job history, jobs, locations, and regions. So the tables and the documents are similar concept, but they are not identical. They are actually not even close to identical. They are very different. At the same time, there are some similarities. So for example, if I want to take a look at what is in the document, what is in this table. So there are a couple of ways you can do it. So one way is that you just want to take a look at what my table structure is. If you want to just look at the structure, you will say describe and say describe countries. And it should show how the country table looks like. So it is showing that country table as the country ID, country name, region, and the country ID cannot be null and its length is 2, and our country name is character 40 and the region ID is number. So just to see how the metadata is, how this table structure look like, you just say a describe command. And I have a quick cheat sheet for you guys also. If you guys want to see what are the different commands which you can do is here. I think I put this link also in there. So we will go over some of these commands today, and then next week we want to continue on this. And next week what we want to focus is more how to design a database. So today I'll just giving you an overview of what a database, relational database versus the NoSQL database. But next week we will go over, we will still go over with the similarities and differences, because we have now 2 different kinds of database and we have established a comparison. So we'll continue to compare while we are covering these concepts. But next week will be more focused on how to design a database and what is the normalization. Normalization is a very important concept in database design. So we want to go over that in more details. And I want to cover that in the next week. So we'll start with the normalization and the designing of database and go over a little bit more commands, which we cannot cover today for the SQL. So one other thing which I probably should have highlighted before is that in order to look at what's in the data in our Oracle or any relational database, the language that is a common across all relational database is called SQL. And SQL means structured query language. And NoSQL means that you are not using a structured query language, but that is just the name someone came up with. It has no relationship that the document database is NoSQL. It is SQL-like. You still have a similar commands to access the data and to populate the data. You do the insert and delete, and all the concepts are similar, but means that you are not using a SQL, a structured query language in the NoSQL database. So let's go back to our SQL developer. So we'll cover some basic commands today, right? So if I want to see what is, so I just looked at what is the metadata. So what is my structure? Then you just say describe. If I want to see what's in my table inside that structure, I will say select, and I can say star. Select means you are querying it, you are reading it. So if you want to read the data, what's in there, you will use a select command. And this is also called a data access language. The SQL is consisted of 3 kinds of commands or 3 kinds of statements. A data access language, DML is a data manipulation language, and then there is a DDL, data definition language. So first thing we are covering is data access language, which is a select star from means that which table. So I can go any of these table. So star means I want to access everything from the database, from that table, all the fields. And I say select star from, let's say, jobs. So when I say click this play button, it will show me all the rows and all the columns in this database. So if I want now, so basically this is going to give me everything. So we cannot do these kind of commands with the database which has millions of records, because this will take a long time. So that's why we have to have some kind of a filtering available. So SQL does support that kind of filtering. So we can filter over fields, we can filter over rows also. So let's first filter over fields, and then we will go over how to filter over the rows. So if I want to just look at the job title and minimum salary, so I'll say select job title, comma, min salary from job. So if I do this, it will, what did I misspell? I misspelled here. All right. Okay, so now we didn't do the star, we did these specific fields. Normally the term that is used is columns and rows, not the fields. So I might sometimes say fields, but it really meant is columns. So basically I picked 2 columns out of that table, and I filtered on the columns. We can also filter on the rows. So let's say I can say that where. So if I want to filter on rows, I will use a where command. So for filtering on the columns, I'll just mention the column names. For filtering on rows, I will use the where clause. It is called where clause, where I can use any field here and say, let's say, where min salary greater than 10,000, for example. So this will show me only the rows, only the job title and minimum salary for the people who whose salary is greater than 10,000. So if I run this, there are only 2 people, the president and the administration vice president. These are the only 2 people whose salary is more than 10,000. So I can also say, instead of this, I can say we're greater than and equal to. So if I do that, I added 1 more person, sales manager, because his salary is 10,000. So greater than equal to means anyone who has salary 10,000 or more. So something like that you can do. And then you can also have more conditions here. So let me remove this and make show all the fields, and let's try to make this 5,000 so that we can see more rows, and then we can do further filtering. I can also say that where min salary is greater than equal to 5,000, and so if I have 2 conditions, and max salary is less than and equal to 10,000. Yeah. So there is only 1 person who falls in this range. That person's minimum salary is greater than this, and max salary is greater than is less than this. So what I mean to say here is that you can put multiple conditions. And I can also, so I put this condition on 2 fields. I can actually put this condition on the same field also. So I can say, give me all the people whose minimum salary is greater than equal to 5,000 and less than equal to 10,000. And I can play this. So these are the people so this will give me everyone whose salary range is 5,000 to 10,000. So, I mean, just think about it, how easy SQL makes it to query the information out. Otherwise, if I have to write a code to do something like this, I'll have to do quite a few hoops, and then be able to do that. But this makes it so easy and simpler. And it's also very, very readable, that you're saying, give me the jobs of people whose salary is between 5,000 and 10,000. That's really what it is. And it's like very English-like language. So makes our life very, very easy to access the data from the database. We still have to go through the design, but I just want to make sure that we understand that this makes it so easy. So let's see, we covered select column 1 from table where condition. we can get into group by later, and I want to cover the order by first, and then maybe we'll go further down. Are you guys okay? We are 9:07. Are you guys okay going up to 9:20 or something? Or if anyone of you have any hard break?
Naimaka, I have to hop off, but I mean, you guys can feel free to go forward.
Okay. Anyone else who has to drop off, or should we end it here?
I will also have to drop off, but I can stay for like another 5 minutes. But
Okay.
I'll be-
Okay, so let's finish it at 9:15. How about that? All right.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, I can see.
Okay,
it too.
9:15. Let's end it at 9:15. So like I said, that we are able to filter our data. We can also sort our data that we want to. Sometimes when you have a lot of data, it's difficult for you to look at it if it is not. And if you're searching for someone, it won't be easy if you don't have the data which is sorted. So we can say order by, if you want to sort this same data into and have the data in some ordered fashion, you can say ordered by job ID. And if I sort it now, the same 7 results will show, but it will show it in a different order. So if you look at it, it is sorted on a job ID that AC is coming first and FI and all the other stuff is all in the sorted order. We could also say sort by min salary or max salary. I'll say min salary. And now if you look at it, the lowest salary is showing on the top and the highest salary is showing on the bottom. We can also do a reverse sorting, which is min order by min salary descending. What? Am I not spelling it correct, or I have forgotten something? All right, I have to check. I think I might have forgotten what is how to do a descending sort. I'll cover that next time maybe. So basically you can sort. You should be able to sort descending also. So all right. So we have the order by, and also instead of doing the name of the column, you can also say order by one. One means that it will do the first column. So say, so it is ordering on a job ID. If I want to order on a fourth field, 1, 2, 3, 4, I can just say order by 4. So it will sort it by the max salary now. Okay, so that is the from and order by. We can also go over. So we have from, we haven't talked about join, we have covered where, we haven't covered group by and having, we have select, we have distinct, and we have order by, and we haven't talked about fetch yet. The distinct basically is that it will just make it unique. The distinct keyword, it will just will make it. So basically it says that distinct removes the duplicate results. Between, I think we didn't cover the between. So I think between was very useful in this scenario, which we are doing. So we can say where, let's see if it works. Where instead of going this way, we can say where min salary between 5,000 and 10,000. All right. So instead of doing the way I did earlier, where min salary greater than equal to 5,000 and less than equal to 10,000, you can rewrite that same statement in this fashion also, and it will do exact same thing which it is doing like right here. And we can also say order by 2, which is means that it will sort on the job title. So all these things you guys can play around. So basically I wanted to, let's see if we can cover the group by and I don't know if we have, so let's do a join. So we will get into the group by and having maybe next time. So the join means that when you have, you want to get an information from two different tables. So for example, here we have a job ID, job title, minimum salary, max salary. What is in the, so what is in the departments? So departments have department ID, department name, manager, employees. Employees will have departments for sure. So yeah, so let's see. Let's run this query. Sorry. Select star from employee. So I will work this join today and then we'll end our meeting today on this. So select star from employee. So employees. So this will give us all the employees data, right? So we can, so I'm not going to cover where here. Let's do a join here. So the join means that we also have a department ID here. And we want to know what is, so from the 90, we don't know what the department name is. So if I want to see what the department name is, I'll run another query, star from department. And this will give me all the departments, department, missing S. So I can select this and run this. So it is giving me the department ID, department name, and manager ID and location ID. So what if I want to get the department name while I'm looking at the employees? So basically there I can say select star from employees, or let's say let's run this again. And I want to see the employee ID, first name, last name, and then the department name. So I say select star from, no, not star. So first name, comma, last name, comma, let's say email, comma, department. Was it department name? From employee, comma, employees, comma. Sorry. Okay. So we'll have to give them aliases here so that we can know what is what, and I will go over next time, and then where we can also go to the next line where we have to provide a join condition, how we are joining them. So where e dot department ID is equal to d dot department ID, and we will have to put aliases here. We'll go over more next time. So I just want to make sure we can run this statement today, and then we can go over more next time. So email and d dot department. So let's see if we can run this statement. So if you look at it, this has got the first name, last name, and email from the employees table, and then the department name from the department table. So basically what we have written here is that I want these fields from these two tables where their employee ID and department ID in those two tables are matching. So we'll go over more next week, but I just want you guys to get this idea, and we'll cover next week first the normalization, and then we will go further into the SQL. Is that okay? Anyone has any questions? All right, so should we end the meeting right here? Any questions before I close? All right, thanks guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank